So the year was 1989, spring break of 89, and I turned 10 that year. And it was the first year we got cable installed into the house. And boy, was it joyous. Oh, my heavens. In fact, it was so joyous. I used to go to friends' houses. They all had cable, most of them, anyways. I'm an inner city kid, so 10 years old, here I am. And when you're 10 in 1989, that's like being like 26 nowadays. I mean, you could give a 10-year-old back in 89 your taxes and they'd probably get it done somehow. But that first year I got cable, I was sick like the week before. I was sick the week before we got cable. And then once it was installed, it was only a few more days or a couple more days until Easter break. So I knew that if I could just be fake sick another couple days, that it would take me right into that Easter break. So I got like 2.5 weeks when I first got cable. And I was left alone. I'm 10 years old. I was home for probably a couple hours, I guess, latchkey kid, whatever you want to call it. We just did what we had to do back then. It wasn't a huge deal, keep the doors locked, don't answer the door, don't answer the phone. And if something's wrong, call Graham. She was a few blocks away. You call Grandma. And nothing ever happened. You can see I'm here, I'm fine. But even then, I knew as a 10-year-old that I had to, like, it does creep me out a little bit. It's funny, and it's also a little disturbing that a 10-year-old me, like, connived and knew to, like, fake sick so I could watch more of this MTV. Manipulation at its finest in the beginning. So, yeah, it was out of control. The biggest thing that stick out to me were we didn't have HBO off the bat, but we had some other movie. I want to say like Showtime or something. We had another movie channel or two. So just seeing these movies was just a trip because you didn't have to go to Blockbuster. And I'm seeing a popular movie. And then eventually we did get the add-ons. My mom, when my parents were divorced, my mom dated a guy. He's actually the guy who put it in. She dated a cable guy before she met, my wonderful stepdad, Tom. So this guy put in everything. Then eventually we got the cheater box in. And I don't think my mom even knew about that, but I did. And he showed me how to use that thing. So then all hell broke loose because now you got Skinamax. You hit that B button. But I still think we're ahead. Where am I going with this? Man, I'm taking such a long time to get the point here. The point is, since the age of 10, since that Easter break, that's when the real brainwashing and manipulation started. It just is. And I don't know who's going to watch this, but some might hear this and be like, oh, God, here's a born again Christian guy. What is this? He's gonna, what's this guy luring? I'm not luring anyone into anything. I don't know if you know by now, YouTube's a come and get it or leave. It's take it or leave it type of thing. I'm not trying to lure anything. What I'm trying to do is share my experience because it's disturbing. And when I was a kid, man, that's why I'm wearing this shirt as a remembrance. That's why I still have some of the stuff on the walls. I'm ready to rip this stuff down because now I realize how fucking deep this stuff goes. Excuse my language. But it really is mind blowing. I'm trying to be funny about it and it's nervous laughter, but it's really fucked up. There we go again. It's really messed up. It's far beyond what any of us even realized how messed up it is. And I remember my whole childhood, my sister might even, or some parents, oh, Motley Crue, you might want to watch those guys, or, be careful of the devil music. But now I realize what they were listening to was also just as evil and just as conniving and just as much of hijacking your soul, basically. Everyone wanted to go to California. It's everyone's dream. You got to be a movie star. We got to go out to California, be a rock star. I can't believe I was all ready to go. I was all gung ho to go to MI and do a year at GIT on guitar. And then I figure, I'm already a great player. I'm going to go there and be the next Paul Gilbert or. Now I look back and I used to regret not going. And I guess I hate to say regret. I mean, for the guitar point, but I feel like if I would have went, who knows what I would have got pulled into. I was very young and naive, and I was willing to do anything. And that's the whole thing. It's not just entertainment, I used to think it was. I used to laugh at guys that would talk like me, or people who would speak like me. I'd be like, dude, get out of here, man. Like, you're looking way too into this shit, old man. I was wrong. I'm on here. I guess that's part of why I'm doing this is just to share my knowledge. And that's why I'm keeping this stuff to show you how entrenched I am in this stuff. Just to find out that none of this is just up in the air. Like they didn't just like throw the ball in the air and see who, like, oh, the best talent wins. Like, no. And yeah, there's talent mixed in. And a lot of these artists and session players didn't even know they were a tool of it. and some of them are my favorite artists. But I always wondered, wow, it's pretty. Now I know it's not a coincidence, but I used to think, wow, it's really coincidental that Steve Lukather, and Eddie Van Halen and David Lee Roth and Steve Perry from Journey, like they all lived in the same county, and a lot of their parents were, big into business, and they were big into the military, and they were all in some kind of nice little club. It's just crazy, like we never had a chance, guys. I mean, they do pluck, shouldn't say that, but we had a very small chance of ever making it. And I'm glad I didn't make it. I'm glad I don't have a life where I'm constantly having to be at some concert or some press thing or some bullshit because they own your ass. They own you. I used to think, oh man, they just love it. It must be great doing that every day and playing guitar and being loved and being. Maybe it's just me, but after I see, and I've done years of digging, and it's funny. This stuff kind of surfaces to me because I don't like wasting too much time on these details anymore because that's life wasted. That's workout time wasted. That's music time for myself wasted, which is now being spent otherwise. Now I'm working on old jazz stuff, and when I come across songs, it stops me in my tracks now because I know what's behind it. But when anything's man-made or connived or there's evil spirits in the background, like you just feel it. Something's just not right. But then when you hear enough details and you think, well, something has to be, they have to be doing stuff like this. Otherwise, how would they keep people accountable? How would they keep people on their leash? How would they keep Prince slave to a record label and everyone else? Which, looking back, I mean, he should have known. He signed a contract. As much as I admire him as an artist, I mean, the record company kept coming back to the contract, which he did sign. But it is wild. He probably didn't think, wow, like anything I do now, I can't just release it. It has to be under this label because I signed the contract that anything Prince does is theirs. Like that does suck. I would be pissed too. But so he found a creative workaround. He did the artist formerly known as. That's why he did that, so he can release other music, and that's probably why they killed him off at the end because they don't want. At the end, there's deals that we'll never know. There's things that none of us will ever know, unless you're in those circles. Even if you're in those circles, we'll never know how those deals are built and signed. And Michael Jackson, when he goes, his family doesn't get the catalog. Prince's family doesn't get the catalog. That's why a lot of artists, to my knowledge, I mean, I don't know for sure, but from what I've heard, Neil Young, he sold his collection. And I used to think, like, why would he sell his whole writing when he wants his kids to have? Now I get it, because he wants to at least get something for it. So he cuts a deal with the record label. They get the whole catalog. He gets something out of it that he can invest or leave for his family because he probably knows how. Well, he does know how it works. Are you kidding me? And the analogy, getting back to it, is if you're being cheated on by your wife or your husband, whatever the case, you don't need to know every single detail. You just need to know the main facts. It's enough for you to say, I'm done. I'm out of here. You know, obviously just don't take hearsay. But when you know, you know. And when you know you've known that it all comes together. The point is we're worshiping these artists. And I was just thinking, man, it was spring of '89 when I really started getting the obsession, the brainwashing. Anything I did, I had to run back to the TV and see, oh, did I miss a video? And then the guitar comes into play a couple years later. Then I got to play guitar. Oh, I'm gonna be better than Eddie Van Halen. I'm gonna show people. I'm gonna have girls want me. I'm gonna have all the dudes think I'm cool. I mean, this stuff works. I mean, it becomes, it kind of instantly becomes an obsession for most. I mean, you listen to everyone's stories; they're all the same. There's messages in a lot of this music. Like there's hidden meanings and hidden stuff in there. It's crazy. So I'm very cautious now, and I don't want these things to take over any more of my mind. And it's crazy because when I was 16, 17, you couldn't tell me a damn thing. And that's why I keep wearing this stuff to show you how much. You might say, well, what a hypocrite. He's got Jordan behind him, all his rock stuff. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm showing it. I'm wrong. I was wrong. So that's why I'm on here. I want to help you, anyone that might be out there with, how you're going to deal with, how much movies consume your time, how much it basically comes down to like put more of the time in yourself. Like stop going to these football games and just I gotta be at every game. I gotta get season tickets. I can't miss the playoffs. When you really boil it down, I used to have season tickets. When you really boil it down, it's just entertainment. They're trying to just entertain you and distract you from the real nature and your real life. And I just want to, if I could help someone get out of that spell and start living, it's something you can't describe. But man, I just want to share my thoughts. Hope you enjoyed this ramble. My point is, the MTV and all this stuff has brainwashed us since childhood. And I used to say so many times, oh, and I do miss the old days, of course. But at the same time, I got to be an adult and be logical and say, well, I need to sort this and put these things in their proper place and put me and my needs and my feel. I hate to say my feelings, I didn't my feelings, but learn how to look at things more how they are and logically instead of emotionally, instead of getting mad all the time. Start finding solutions. So get away from the TV and the movies. Stop chasing bands. Stop worshiping bands and movie stars and all this shit, and start worshiping yourself. That's it. That's the whole point of the channel. I don't know if I'll release this. I feel now I was super stoned and doing this, but I don't know. It's real life. This is real life. This is me sitting here in my room after a couple of really good bong hits on 420, trying to share some. The way I look at the weed is I don't drink anymore, and I don't crave it at all. I don't give a, none of that stuff. But I do enjoy a nice. I do. I just enjoy a little bit of weed, coffee, and helping others. So I hope someone got something out of this, even if you laughed or you just were like, "Oh my God, this guy is a mess." Glad I could help you. All right, I'll see you guys next time.